wondered what the moon is actually like? Well, in today's video, you are going to find out 3 mind-blowing facts about this famously known natural satellite and how it applies to the zodiac sign Cancer. Join me in this series, Astrology meets Astronomy. Hey there, Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. And if you are new here, my name is Hannah. I am a Western Practical Astrologer, and if you have not joined the Cosmic Warriors Club, what are you waiting for? Go to cosmicwarriorsclub.com. I hope to see you there. But before we dive into today's video, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and click the bell. And if you are interested in any of my services, then you can go to hannahselsewhere.com. There you can also find my practical astrology ebooks, guide and merch. All the links will be in the description box down below. I hope that you find this video to be helpful today. Let's do this. Alright, so just a reminder here, the moon in astrology rules the zodiac sign Cancer, and so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the parallels between the moon and this sign. The first mind-blowing fact about the moon is, like I said at the very beginning of this video, it is a natural satellite. But what exactly does that mean? Well, a satellite is an object that orbits another object. And seeing as the moon orbits the Earth, this makes it a satellite. In fact, it's the Earth's only satellite. And get this, Jupiter has 95 moons, Saturn has 83, even the dwarf planet Pluto has 5. That's 4 more than what Earth has, and Pluto is a good bit smaller than Earth. The Earth's moon is actually the 5th largest in our solar system. But what exactly makes it so special? For one, the moon helps stabilize the climate on Earth. Thanks to the moon, Earth is much more pleasant and livable. For instance, the moon causes tides. Its gravitational pull causes the oceans to bulge out on both the side closest to the moon and the side farthest from the moon. And according to NASA, these bulges create high tides, and the low points are where low tides occur. When the Earth, Sun and Moon line up twice a month, the range between high and low tides is greatest. These are known as spring tides. The 2 events that I talk about are the new moon and the full moon. Okay, we have a new moon and a full moon each month. I'll actually show you an image right here to explain what I'm referring to. This image is taken from earthsky.org for educational purposes. So notice how during a new moon, the moon is between the Earth and the Sun. People born during a new moon have the same sun and moon sign, so they are close together. But during a full moon, the Earth is between the Sun and the Moon. People born during a full moon have opposite Sun and Moon signs, and so they are far apart. Now, both spring and neap tides coincide with the phases of the moon. So whilst spring tides coincide with full moons and new moons, neap tides coincide with first quarter moons and last quarter moons. This is when the range between high and low tides is the least. Now, I'm also going to insert an image of the phases of the moon right here, so you can look up the phases of the moon based on your birthday. So if you go to astro/seek.com, I'll actually just add a link down below to that website. But here I will just show you. I was born on the 8th of February, okay? And you can see that the moon was in Aries when I was born. It was in its waxing crescent phase. So this tells me something about myself. Apparently being born during a waxing crescent moon means I'm very curious, and with being born just a few days after the new moon, there is this sense of adventure and courage. And with the moon also being in Aries, this only amplifies these qualities. But if we look at the phases of the moon overall, new moons point to intention setting, waxing crescent moons show the building phase, the first quarter moon phase focuses on commitments and challenges, the waxing gibbous moons, they show the reflective phase, we adjust, we refine. And then during the full moon, we release, we shed, we gain clarity, we also reap rewards. And so in this respect, think of it as the tides coming in. The tides are higher during that full moon. So just think of it that way. And after the full moon takes place, the tides go out again. That's a kind of cool way to think about it in my mind. So during the waning gibbous moon, we relax a bit. We reevaluate, we breathe out. The waning gibbous moon is also referred to as the disseminating moon. Then during the third quarter moon phase, we make more adjustments, we re-strategize. And then by the waning crescent moon, we focus on reflection, we surrender. The waning crescent moon is also referred to as the balsamic moon. It's a time period of healing, of the self-soothing. And then naturally it goes into the new moon once again, where we set new intentions all over again, okay? Though with these phases, do keep in mind the signs that the moon is in. Because the moon could be in Libra during a waning gibbous phase 1 month, but then it could be in a waxing gibbous phase a couple months later. We have a full moon and a new moon in each of the signs every year, and every 3 months or every quarter, we have an opportunity to review where we are along the path, along the moon's journey. So thinking about the journey of the moon's cycle. So I'll give you an example here. A new moon in Aquarius took place in January of this year, so 2023. And in May 2023, the last quarter moon phase will occur in this sign. Then there will be a full moon in Aquarius in August of this year. And come November 2023, the first quarter moon phase will take place in Aquarius. So you're essentially following the path of the moon throughout its phases based on the sign it's in. But then bringing this back to the tides, if we really think about grounding this energy, predicting and monitoring tides is important for many reasons. So according to the National Ocean Service, it's important to measure the tides for things like getting cargo ships safely into and out of ports, determining the extent of an oil spill, building bridges and piers, determining the best fishing spots, tsunami tracking, and so much more. Though, what does this information tell us about the sign of Cancer? Well, Cancer is a water sign. In fact, it's a cardinal water sign. It's the first water sign in the zodiac. It's largely tied to our survival, our home, our foundation. It indicates the importance of asserting ourselves for domestic reasons, for protection reasons. All the cardinal signs point to protection in some way, shape, or form. Aries is about instinct and survival of the fittest. Cancer is about intuition, home, family, our living security, and carrying on our DNA. Libra tells us that we need others to survive. We must partner up. We are social beings. And Capricorn reminds us that our physical needs and our basic needs can be threatened by new laws and by new regulations. There is a struggle to control the inevitable, but it's important to plan and prepare. And it's actually Cancer that reminds us to monitor the changing of the tides within our own lives, both on a physical level and on an emotional level. I mean, one day you could be feeling well, really in a good mood. The next day, not so much. One day you could feel really safe and secure because life is going well. You have enough food to eat, you have enough water, but then the next week something could change. Something about your situation could change. The sign of Cancer can be quite unpredictable in this way, but at the same time, rhythmic. Think about it. There is a rhythm to the tides, much like there is a rhythm to music, sound, patterns, dance, sports, exercise. There is a rhythm going on within our own lives. The body and the mind have this natural rhythm. We have so many biological rhythms like our metabolism, our heart rate, our body temperature, our hormones. There are circadian rhythms. There are diurnal rhythms, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly, which control the functions of your sleep. They control the functions of your hormones and so on. Things like caffeine, jet lag, irregular sleep can disrupt our rhythms. Though speaking of hormones, think about a woman's menstrual cycle, which is based on a rhythm. There are debates about the research about a woman's cycle aligning with the phases of the moon, but a fact to mention here is that the menstrual cycle lasts for an average of 28 days, which is about the same amount of time as the lunar cycle. And apparently, Charles Darwin thought that the 28-day human menstrual cycle was evidence that our ancestors lived on the seashore and needed to synchronize with the tides. You could even say that astrology is a rhythm. It works in phases, cycles. There is a rhythm to the seasons, looking at the 4 main seasons, but also thinking about the 12 astrological seasons. And when you look up a particular point in the chart, you can spot similar themes. So for example, when Pluto was last in the sign of Aquarius at 0 degrees, the Trinity of Alliance with France was signed, creating a military alliance between the United States and France against Great Britain. This happened on the 6th of February 1778. But then fast forward to Pluto being in Aquarius again, and it's at that 0 degree mark. Well, there is all of this talk about the rising power of the BRICS countries. So BRICS standing for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So basically looking at alliances here. And so when it comes to the sign of Cancer and even looking at the moon in our natal charts, it's about phases, cycles, and rhythms. Cancer is also quite a moody sign. It's ruled by its fluctuating moods. Cancer shows us that we too are moved by our moods. And as the moon goes through its phases each month, so do we. The second mind-blowing fact about the moon is that many civilizations throughout history worshipped the moon as a god, similar to that of the sun. There was Thoth in Egypt, Sin-nana in Babylonia, and Chantra in India. And when looking at Roman mythology, the Romans worshipped the goddess Luna. Luna was the personification of the moon, and then Sol was the personification of the sun. And when looking at Greek mythology, the moon is associated with goddess Selene, sister of god Helios. She represents the many phases of the moon. She represented life's constant changes. Though later, goddess Artemis replaced Selene. Artemis and Apollo were actually twins, which, by the way, Apollo replaced Helios. Now, this is interesting because the sun and moon in your natal chart are connected in this very unified way. They both really work together. In fact, unlike the sun, the moon doesn't create its own light. We can only see it because light from the sun is reflected off its surface. The moon is the brightest object in our night sky. It's also the largest, but it gets its light from the sun. During full moons, the moon is its brightest. So the Earth sits between the sun and the moon during full moons. But then during new moons, you can't really see the moon. They're just focusing on the sun and moon as a unity here. Apollo had dominion of the day, and Artemis had dominion of the night. During the day, Apollos rode the sun across the sky pulled by 4 horses, and Artemis rode her chariot pulled by 2 white horses across the sky throughout the night. Apollo represented golden light and Artemis represented silver light. The sun rules the metal gold, the moon rules the metal silver. However, apparently Apollo and Artemis had opposing aims. Their lifestyles were so different. They were very much the opposite of one another. Apollo loved attention, but Artemis focused more on her role as the huntress. She actually remained a virgin. Sure, the moon gets its light from the sun, but the light the moon radiates is different. And it's kind of funny to think of Apollo enjoying attention when the sun in our natal chart is tied to attention and applause. But the moon in our natal chart is a very different energy. The moon is sacred. It's about respecting our natural instincts, our rhythms, okay, our moods. It's tied to protection. It looks at emotional security. The moon also points to our unconscious selves in our charts. So those parts of ourselves that are automatic responses. We don't have to think about it. Our moon sign plays out in subconscious ways. And often it's the sun and moon in our charts that can oppose one another. For example, can you think of a time when you were consciously expressing Taurus traits, right? Let's say you have the sun in Taurus. So you're expressing these Taurus traits of being routine, being calm, being stable, but then something happens and your Gemini traits of quick wit, playfulness, or curiosity, these traits come out. So looking at the moon sign, you might think about your emotional reaction and kind of go, what was I thinking there? Or you could be someone with the same sun and moon sign, meaning the conscious and unconscious self are aligned. You have a pretty fair understanding of who you are, what you want, what you need. Then again, you could be someone with opposite sun and moon signs. And this really points to opposing moments of what the hell just happened. Whilst you are consciously expressing, let's say you have the sun in Leo, you're consciously expressing Leo traits of enthusiasm and liveliness. Out of nowhere, your unconscious Aquarius moon adds a flavor of quirkiness and eccentricity. You're looking at your audience like, did you get that? Naturally, things can play out in many different ways depending on the sun-moon combination you have, and even, thinking about those aspects there, what's being communicated between your sun and moon. But essentially, the moon in your chart points to your hidden self, your private self, the part of you that comes out when you react or when you feel really, really comfortable, when you feel secure, you feel like you belong somewhere. It's connected to our emotions, to our feelings, to our unconscious. And Cancer in the natal chart further shows up as a private, protective, emotional, and reactive energy. And the third mind-blowing fact about the moon is craters dominate the moon. They can also be found on Mercury's surface. NASA has identified 763 craters on Mercury's surface. 397 of these have received names. Most of them are named after writers, poets, painters, artists. We have Walt Disney, for example. We have Charles Dickens as another pretty popular example. And according to the American Museum of Natural History, craters allow scientists to study a planet's geological history, even when the records are buried beneath the surface. Basically, creators can unlock the history of space. We can explore the history of the solar system. In fact, there are 190 identified creators on Earth, one of which really stood out to me, and that is Wolf Creek, the Wolf Creek crater in Australia. Who remembers that movie? Because I was terrified. Still, focusing on how we can explore the history of our solar system thanks to the moon's craters. It is said that understanding the age of craters on the moon can help us better understand the age of Earth. And this is interesting when looking at the sign of Cancer, because Cancer indicates history and genealogy. It's tied to our family lineage, our ancestry. The moon also points toward these types of things. Let's even consider the 4th house within your natal chart, okay? The house ruled by Cancer. This is where we grow up within our family home. It's an area of life associated with our ancestry. Even thinking about the types of traits that you were that were passed down onto you, okay, through the family line. So thinking about your DNA, your genetics. Do you look more like your mother? Do you look more like your father? Do you have your mother's temper? Or maybe you have your father's impatience. Maybe you have your mother's beauty or intelligence, or you have your father's wit or charm. What kind of family were you born into? Was it a big family like me and I have Sagittarius in the 4th house? Or are you an only child? And how emotionally secure did you feel? Did you feel supported emotionally? Cancer very much corresponds with our emotional security. Then again, perhaps you grew up in a highly unsettling family environment, okay? It was chaotic, it was disruptive, or you had to go live with your grandparents. Maybe you were abandoned, or you were adopted, or one of your parents battled with addiction, or one of your relatives struggled with addiction or with their mental health, which then had impacts on your life. Also, thinking about the past, what was carried forward by your relatives? What unconscious behaviors did they bring to your life? Are there any traditions in your family home? Essentially, how were you raised? And at the same time, how do you raise your children? Do you even decide to have children at all, to raise a family at all? Can you even conceive? Where do you decide to put down roots? And what are your attitudes toward your family history, toward family traditions? And which home environment do you create in the future? Where do you settle down in life? Which type of living situation makes you feel safe and secure? Or maybe you never feel safe and secure within a particular place. Maybe it's really challenging for you to set down roots, to feel settled, to feel secure. Oh, and also, what unconscious behaviors do you carry forward? All of these things, okay, there's a lot to unpack here, but all of these things show up in the 4th house. Essentially, Cancer shows up in your chart as a manifestation of your emotional needs, your moods, your feelings, how you were cared for, how you were supported, but then also how you care for others, how you support others. It's tied to our memories, to the past, to our family lineage, our conditioning, our unconscious. And well, that is pretty mind-blowing. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video talking about the 3 mind-blowing facts about the moon and how it applies to the zodiac sign Cancer. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video to be helpful. Did you learn something new? Did your perspective change? Do you have any fun facts for me that you want to share? All references that I used for this video will be in the description box down below. Be sure to check them out. And as always, let me know your thoughts and your opinions on today's video. But with all of that being said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And of course, if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then make sure that you click that subscribe button and also give this video a like if you did like it today. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!